Four-Color Fear, Forgotten Pre-Code Horror Comics of the 1950s by Greg Sadowski, published by Fantagraphics Press in 2010 and reprinted in 2017. Greetings, friends. This is a two-part video on perhaps the greatest book ever published on non-EC pre-code horror comic books of the 1950s. Four-Color Fear is 320 packed pages of fantastic comic book story reproductions, but Four-Color Fear doesn't simply reprint stories. They give you detailed backgrounds on the stories in the comprehensive notes section in the back of the book, with info on the artists and publishers and details on the stories themselves. But that's not all. In the middle of the book, we are treated to a glossy, full-color pre-code horror comic cover gallery, with a cover section key also at the back of the book, with yet more info on the artists and covers presented herein. And if that wasn't enough, at the very end of the book, there is a comprehensive list of all pre-code horror comics published from Ace to Ziff Davis, including the titles and number runs and dates of each title. Needless to say, Four-Color Fear was invaluable for me when I was making my documentary on pre-code horror comics called Haunted Thrills, which you can watch on my channel. And instead of paying a severed arm and leg for the first printing, Fantagraphics Press was kind enough to publish a second printing you can get on Amazon for the best price I have seen for a brand new edition. In part one of this video, we take a look at the story reprints with notes about the stories, artists, and publishers. We begin with a nice Ajax Farrell house ad. The best in supernatural thrills and chills. Strange fantasy, haunted thrills, voodoo, fantastic fears. On sale everywhere. Synopses for the stories supplied by comics.org and presented where available. The Strange Case of Henpecked Harry, from Erie No. 1, January 1947. Art by Fred Kita. Synopsis. Harry Horton plots the death of his wife, but the guilt drives him mad. Pit of the Damned. Chamber of Chills No. 7, 1952. Art by Bob Powell. Corpses Coast to Coast. Synopsis. A mad undertaker has a dream of zombie world domination. A Pact with the Devil. Web of Evil No. 9, 1953. Art by Jack Cole. Suicidal John Masters enters into a pact with the devil and gets 10 golden years of wealth and fortune. When his time is up, Masters tries to run, but Satan and his minions follow suit on his heels and drive him to suicide. The Corpse That Came to Dinner. Out of the Shadows No. 9, 1953. Art by Reed Crandall. A young couple returns from their honeymoon. They learn that a friend has committed suicide because he had wanted to marry the girl. The friend's corpse climbs out of his grave and lays siege to the couple's apartment. The Maze Master. Baffling Mysteries No. 20, 1954. Art by Lou Cameron. Victor Rarlo is a sadist who loves puzzles and lets people perish in their fiendish mazes. Being challenged by a strange mystic, Rarlo travels into psychedelic mind mazes and gets irreversibly caught in the maze of his own mind. Swamp Monster. Weird Mysteries No. 5, 1953. Art by Basil Wolverton. An escaped convict is bitten by a vampiric being in the swamp and turns into a demonic beast man. What Was the Discovery? Black Cat Mystery, number 46, 1953, art by Manny Stallman. Death Sentence, Tomb of Terror, number 14, 1954, art by Sid Check. Reporter Adams visits a convicted murderer in his cell, and he is warned by the doomed man that the reporter must warn the world that mankind is about to be wiped out. Death Deals a Hand, Strange Mysteries 18, 1954, art by Iger Shop. Several people join a club in which one person kills another each meeting until only one is left. The remaining person inherits all of the other's possessions. Finally, the last person left is murdered by the ghosts of the other members. Custodian of the Dead, Web of Evil number 1, 1952, art by Jack Cole. Undertaker Horace Venery is a grave robber at night, stealing valuable possessions off his dead clients. Crawling through coffins, he is caught in a cave-in and eaten by rats. Servants of the Tomb, Witch's Tales 6, 1951, art by Bob Powell. Nightmare, Adventures into the Unknown, number 51, 1954, art by Harry Lazarus. Harry, a down-on-his-luck writer, goes to the pawn shop where he is shown the creatures that take the people guilty of 7 deadly sins. He uses the experience to write more stories, which are bought by his publisher. Me, Ghost, Adventures into Darkness, number 10, 1953, art by Jack Katz. A guy uses his girlfriend as a human shield against a robber. Dust Unto Dust, Chamber of Chills, number 53, 1954, art by Howard Nostrand. Drum of Doom, Out of the Night, number 2, 1952, art by Al Williamson. The Body Maker, Black Cat Mystery, number 39, 1952, art by Warren Kremer. Green Horror, Fantastic Fears, number 8, 1954, art by Iger Shop. Over her husband's objections, Martha plants a cactus in the yard of their home. George broods over the plant and one night decides to chop it down, but the cactus seizes the axe and kills George instead. Then the plant enters the house and hugs Martha, crushing her to death. Note, this was probably written by Ruth Roach, who was the editor at the time. Puppet Peril, Weird Adventures number 2, art by Ernie Bach, inked by Harry Harrison. American impresario brings over puppet player genius Satana from Germany to appear on TV. Her puppets are bewitched, shrunken humans, taking revenge on her tormentress. Mother Mongoose's Nursery Crimes, Witch's Tales number 25, 1954, art by Howard Nostrand. Chef's Delight, Mysterious Adventures number 20, 1954, art by Dick Beck. Synopsis: a vile, famous chef named Francois Nicole treats everyone in his life like garbage except for his rich girlfriend, who he lavishes money on. Meanwhile, his wife and 2 children are left to suffer in squalid conditions. She murders Francois at his restaurant and butchers his corpse. When the other chefs arrive the following morning, they see Francois's organs all spread out as a meal. Note, this was one of the stories that I adapted for my feature-length horror anthology film, Witch Tales, which is available to rent on Amazon right now. Colorama, Black Cat Mystery number 45, 1953, art by Bob Powell. The Thing from the Sea, Eerie number 2, 1951, art by Wally Wood. Eddie Murray is killed by Johnny Smithers and pushed overboard at sea. While the killer courts the girl of the deceased, the dead man trods along the bottom of the ocean home back to his honey. The Flapping Head, Forbidden Worlds number 6, 1952, art by Al Williamson. Amnesia, Chamber of Chills number 17, 1953. Art by Warren Kremer. And last but definitely not least, a beautiful insert page entitled Vision of the Gods from Nightmare number 1, 1952. Art by Everett Raymond Kinsler, who I was fortunate enough to interview for my documentary Haunted Thrills a year before he passed away. In the next part, we will wrap up the story reprints in 4-color Fear, and then on to the amazing cover art gallery. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe.